The Mercurius Mind presents to you a weekly dose of inspirational teachings. So sit back, listen, and thrive. And please, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get notifications every time we release a new dose. Let's go!
Hey, podcast family and friends, welcome. This is the first episode on the Myrt Show for the year 2022. Man, I am so pumped. The love that you guys showed me throughout last year was so overwhelming. Like, guys, I am deeply grateful. Like, from my heart, I appreciate you guys, the thousands of downloads and the comments and the reviews and all that. Guys, this is coming from a place of love, and I want to appreciate you guys, and I say thank you very much. So this year, we are doing something new. So this year we're going to be having guests, but we're going to be having the guest is going to be on video. So definitely I'm working on my YouTube channel. So now the Myrt Show will not only be on the podcast platform, but it will also be on YouTube. So you that prefer visuals, you that prefer to go, see us, see who is speaking behind the camera, right? So this is the opportunity for you to do that and subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Mercurius Mind. Just go to YouTube and type in Mercurius Mind. You will get all the videos up there and all the content. And I hope you digest that, and I hope you do that. And please, like I said, always, I appreciate you guys' support, and it's because of you guys that I'm still here doing all these things, right? You guys inspire me. So I want you to please do me a favor, try and subscribe, and always try to share each of the episodes. The one that resonates with you, share with your friends, share with your family, like 2 or 3 of your friends, be that change that you desire, be an agent for positivity, begin to spread that positivity because we are entitled to do so. So thank you again, for hanging out with us today. Now, I have a guest today, and guys, this is a friend, not just a guest, but this is a friend. So this guy is somebody that, I value his work a lot. Like, he uses his work to inspire, to motivate, to speak for justice, and to talk about emotional intelligence and emotional well-being and mental health and all that. All these things are incorporated in his work. So I watched him and I looked at his work, and I said I had to bring him here to come and share, what prompted him, what made him start doing what he's doing. Let us hear his story. And guys, the good thing is, there's a group that I belong to that we meet literally every last Friday of the month. And this, my brother, is in there with me. So we go way back, like we share things together, inspiration, talk about our weaknesses, talk about our strengths, and we grow together. So guys, I have with me here Myrts Son. Myrts Son is an independent hip-hop artist. Guys, this one is hot. So brace yourself. So he is born and raised in the heart of Charlotte in North Carolina, right? And his story paints the perfect picture of the caterpillar transforming into the butterfly. After losing his mother and brother in 2015, it drove him into depression. Guys, this is real. Depression is real. Like, what we face daily, sometimes when we don't find a handle, it leads to so many things. But this is the interesting thing about this young man's story. That depression ended up saving his life and being the fuel that expands on his vision. Now, by taking the time to understand his trauma, he healed himself through music. Guys, you need to listen to his music. I will put all his information down below in the description box at the end of this podcast. You need to go there and listen to all his music. Trust me, it's life transforming. And he aims to heal humanity with it as well. We can't completely heal ourselves without being honest with ourselves, right? So, and Myrts Son released his debut album, Thanks for Asking, February 2019. So he's been in this game for some years now. Kudos to you, brother. It was inspired by the depression he went through and how he overcame it. His second album, About Dale, released October 2019, there he focused on understanding and breaking his own generational curses. Then his third album, Divine Intervention, released August 2020, is the sum of his most vulnerable and introspective work yet. I know he has more things up his sleeve, brother. So the album is based around the series of, psychedelic experience focused on finding the confidence and light within to go and live out your purpose. The good thing is this: Myrt writes and engineers all his own song. I have a lot of questions on this part, guys. So just stay with me to make sure he keeps it raw and relatable as the actual experience. So he has, many different singles, and all his album can be viewed on all digital media outlets. So without wasting further time, guys, help me welcome Myrts Son. We are happy to have you here.
Appreciate it, brother. I've been waiting on this, man. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, guys, like you all know how I do my thing, because I believe everyone's story is unique and everyone's story is different. So whenever I have a guest here, I have the habit of trying to not just question them about their knowledge. I'm trying to know where the inspiration comes from so that I can learn through it, because life is all about growth. So I always have my writing materials ready to be able to, get, any knowledge that I can be able to, get from their stories. And I just encourage you guys to do the same. You might be walking your dog right now or cooking in the kitchen while listening to this, or you might be doing exercise or whatsoever, but any part, any line that catches you, trust me, you just have to maybe take a screenshot or pause the thing and just make sure you write it down so you don't forget it. So let's dive into this, Mike. So what I want to understand is, can you tell us like the situation, from your story when your mom and your brother, when you lost them in 2015, we led you to depression. And trust me, brother, I know what that means, because I lost my father 2013. So, but yeah. So, but now what I want to understand is how did that experience, led you into depression? What happened? Can you walk us through with the experience, the feeling, how everything did it happen?
Yeah, man. My brother, they both passed in 2015. My brother had passed in May. When he passed, I was already, like homeless and, living out my car, trying to figure my love life out. Then my mother passed that November of the same year. So losing them was like the door that opened up, to the rest of my problems and everything else I had going on to myself. I remember it was probably like January that following year after they passed, I was sitting on my porch and I had this pain in my chest because I started thinking about my brother, and I was like, am I able to cuss on here? Profanity?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sometimes it comes out. I just wanted to ask before I cuss on your show, so I'd be more conscious.
Okay.
But I started feeling the pain, from losing him, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't want to feel it again. So I didn't automatically go in depression. Like as soon as they passed, I started getting into activism real heavy. I just got real busy trying to ignore that pain. I didn't want to feel that pain again and that confusion that I felt at that moment.
Yeah.
So I started doing everything to keep my mind off of it, to not feel. And it got to the point where I just broke, where my spirit couldn't take it no more. My mind couldn't take it no more. And I just completely broke. I used to sit on my front porch. It's my mom's house. I stayed in that house all my life. Like, it's a funny story how I ended up being homeless and stuff. That's a whole nother thing. But I was sitting on my mom's porch at that time and I couldn't move. I was just sitting there stuck for hours. This was the first night that everything hit me. I was just sitting there and I couldn't move. And I was just remember looking and just being like, thinking about my life and all the things that I didn't like about myself. Why I was in the situations I was in, why I got this instant fear of death. Like when they passed, when my mom, my brother passed, I never thought about death. And you know, in a negative way until then. And yeah, I completely broke. Everything went black. I was numb. Um, After that, like days after, I just started like realized I was living through the motion. I was like just trying to figure it out, like what, like how in the hell I end up here, like in this moment. And so these nights, and that's why I try to tell people, like when you go through depression and you go through this time, like sometimes it can be so overwhelming. You want that instant gratification. Like people say you need to spend time with yourself. Like it's not 20 minutes, it's not 30 minutes, not an hour. Like the type of nights I was spending with myself, like I was smoking a lot of weed at the time. I was drinking like a lot. I became like an alcoholic pretty much. Like when I get off work, I had to go get me a bottle and I had to go get my weed and I would sit on the porch and I would just from like 6 p.m. like after I dropped my kids off and you know I do everything I need to do, I would sit on my porch from like I would say about 7 to 8 p.m. at night to about 4 in the morning, just like thinking about my life, just like, and I realized at that time I was a liar. Like I was like, why are you a liar? And I started thinking about how I became a liar. It's because I was in relationships with women and I couldn't never be faithful. That's why my love life was a mess. So I would be in one situation and I would have to come up with a lie, like to lie about when I'm out here with something like, you know, coming up with stories all the time. Like I had came up, lied so much, I didn't even know who the hell I was, what I was supposed to be doing, you know, and I was like, well, why do you lie? And I would think about that for hours. And it was like fears and desires. Like that's why people, you know, go away from themselves, fears and desires. Like my desires, you know, with women and conversation and, you know, what I loved in women would lead me away from my relationship. And then I would be scared of, you know, being found out or scared of hurting somebody's feelings, the fear of not getting caught or not getting in trouble or feeling that confrontation is what made me lie. So I was like, you know, how do I fix that? By being completely honest about everything, like not just the people, like with yourself as well. And this is the first step, you know, admitting that you are a liar. And the only way you're gonna fix that is if you start facing these truths about yourself. So the first thing I got right was with my relationship. I started just being honest about everything. Like I don't care. Like if you ask me how your hair look, if it don't look good, I was like, it's the simple things. I had to be honest about everything in order to overcome that. You know what I'm saying? I started thinking about how broke I was. You know, why was I living out my car for a year? You know, why didn't I have my stuff together? Why didn't I have my things together? It's like I started thinking about those things. You know, and I was like, I'm trying to think of I got your notes and your questions here. Make sure I don't want to make sure I'm not going over, but yeah, man, that was really my process to figure out. It was one day I was playing with my daughter and I was trying so hard, like not to let her see me hurting. You know what I'm saying? And I thought I was doing well, like, like playing with her. I'm smiling,
Yeah.
I'm laughing to me, like I'm in it. And you know, she just stopped and she looked at me and she was like, Dad, what's wrong? And I was like, damn, like it's when I realized like it ain't just affecting me. Like I really need to get my life together for these kids because, you know, they didn't ask to be here. Like this is my responsibility. And at that time, I didn't care if I was here or not. You know what I'm saying? So it was like the kids were the first thing to drive me, like start getting me like, okay, you need to work on yourself. You need to start spending that time with yourself and start healing, man. And that's pretty much how it hit when my mom and my brother died, man. I tried to ignore it and run from the pain until I popped. And when I popped, it opened up the doors to everything about myself. I always explain to people, it's like, I say this a lot, like going through depression is like breaking yourself into a million pieces and you got to take them and pick them back up carefully. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Protect your energy. You're real sensitive at that time. You take everything personal. That's what the title came from when my first album was Thanks for Asking.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I remember being like, I was always the guy asking people how they're doing. How are you feeling? How is everything? And nobody asking me that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't for nobody to ask. Like, you need to ask yourself, you know, how are you feeling? And,
yeah,
you know,
Yeah, not to
Yeah,
cut
bro.
you short. Yeah, not to cut you short. So, according to your story, is you are already in denial of certain things before that incident happened with your mom and your brother. Like you already know that there is something that you need to take care of within you. But that, that incident just opened you up to like that reality, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So I want to know how, when all these things happened, and I'm very happy that you're here today, because it's because you overcame it, right? That's why we are here talking
Yeah.
about it. Because if you didn't, I don't know where you would be today, and we might not even have the opportunity to meet each other. So this is amazing right now. So, but how did you finally turn it around? Like, how were you able? I know you talked about being honest with yourself, and I know that, okay, even when you're honest with yourself, there are certain things that you need to do, certain steps that you need to do to get yourself out of that depression. Like you said, when you're depressed, you became, you will be more sensitive about anything happening around you. Your world will seem, it will seem like the world is coming against you and all that. You will lose the real happiness and all that. And that day that your daughter asks you that question, and all your thoughts began to change, your mentality about how to deal with this thing, how to get out of it. So how were you able to overcome this, and let it become, the fuel for your vision?
Yeah. The kids was the vision. Because what I had to realize was like, what did I learn from my mother and my brother passing?
Mm.
Like not just being sad, not just developing this fear of death. Like what did you truly learn, from your mother and your brother passing? And they were young. My mother passed at 66. I feel that's too young. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? My brother was 40 when he passed, and they all had, health conditions. My mother was always back and forth from, she was overweight, diabetes, high blood pressure, lupus. I can go down the book. Like I had so many medications she was taking each day. My brother, he was a beautiful dude, but like he overworked himself. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? Like he had diabetes and high blood pressure. He overate. Like he was a little heavier too. Um, they did the best they could to take care of us, but like they knew much as they. That's why I stopped. I never blamed them for anything.
Yeah.
Like coming up, because they only knew, like we only know what we know, and we pass that to our kids. If we
Yeah.
didn't know, the things we don't know, we just miss out this lifetime,
Yeah.
and pray that our kids grab it when they come along. They ain't know how to, they don't have access to the things that we have now, how to eat better and, take care of yourself, mental health, talking to yourself, these things. So I was like, what did I had to learn from my people passing? I had to learn how to take care of myself. You know, I had to learn, I started thinking about my childhood, because when you go back and you dealing with trauma, like you dealing with things that are going on inside of you, like you go back to you being a kid. And I start thinking about the relationship between me and my mother. She was a dope mom, beautiful mom, but I wish she would have paid more attention to me here. I wish we would have had more time to do this here. You know what I'm saying? And I take those things and I put them towards my kids. I used to wonder about why I lack confidence and these things. And I took one of those psychedelic trips that you read about in my bio. You know, I
Mm.
learned why I lack confidence. I think because my mother, she was so strict. She was just strict on me, bro. Like, and I don't even know if I had anything to say as a child, but if I did, I felt like I could. Because of how strict she was. Like she was raised in the 50s and the civil rights and stuff. So like if
Yeah.
we out in public, she like shush, do this for that man. Like don't make sure you say yes sir, no sir. That's all like that's how she was. It
Yeah.
was, like I said, it was all out of love, but that's things that I got to deal with now. Like, but that's things that I had to learn from, my mother and my brother passing. Like I just couldn't be scared. I couldn't be scared to death and have all these things going on. I had to act on them. I had to start doing things in my life, watching what I eat. Um, Money. I remember coming up financially. My mom and my brother. My mom would work 2 and 3 jobs sometimes. My brother would work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, like killing themselves, like warehouse work. And, you know, I'm not finna work that much. Like, I'm not finna break myself down that way to make money. I have to come up with a way to, you know, thrive, in a way that I love. That's why I got the music.
Yeah.
I started a photography business because I was like, none of my people ever owned business. They didn't know how to go out here and start a business on their own. That's why they worked 70 hours killing themselves. Like, they didn't take that time to go and figure out how to start a business and do those things. So I was like, I have to start this foundation and build this foundation so I can give it to my kids, and not just my kids. I need to do it for other people. That this conversation that we having, like,
Yeah.
whoever's listening to this podcast is, like I don't know, I just want to inspire people. That was the fuel. Like, when I realized I came out of depression and I was feeling good about myself, and I can go act on my visions and act on my dreams and fully love my kids. Like, I wanted to help other people do that as well. I want other people to feel that. So that was the fuel. That's when I was like, not only am I gonna do this music, like, what am I gonna do with this music once I put it out?
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a very interesting story, man. Thank you for sharing that with us, man.
No doubt.
I've seen your work, man. I've seen your work. I've seen the things, like the lyrics of your music, your songs are so inspiring. Like, I don't know how you do it, but you use music to like teach. You don't just sing because you love it. You don't just sing because it's something that is you're passionate about, but you use music to pass a message. Like, I remember, I think it's the Remount Classics. That was the last album, right? Yeah. So I was listening to one of your lines. It says, gonna be a certain way if you want to see your visions. Then the next line was, can't make yourself small just to cater for for others' feeling, or something like that, for the feelings of others. You can make yourself small.
Can't make myself small just to cater to your feelings.
Yeah, to your feelings. Yeah, just to cater to your feelings. So, and these lyrics are powerful lyrics. And I have seen you, like the paintings. I think you paint too. You do some art.
I just started. Yeah.
You're a very creative person. And guys, this is the thing. Had it been, Myrt didn't walk through this depression, all these things that you know about yourself, all these talents that you have now, all the amazing work that you're doing now, you wouldn't have been able to do them, because you will still be there battling with yourself, battling with your emotions. And you have this God-given vision, this powerful vision that you have. And the thing is just going to waste, right? So that is why when we go through some things, just like Myrt did, there's always a way out. Sometimes we tell ourselves the story that, I can't get out of this. This is the end of life for me, but that is not true. If you listen to Myrt's story, this is a true story, a complete change of destiny. He did the turn, he did the work, and now trust me, I'll put my information for you to go take a look at his work. I'm not kidding when I said this. When I see you, brother, when you're in your element, when I see you, man, I feel so happy, man. I just listen to you. Sometimes I'll just, in the night, I'll just play it, all this skip, and I'll just be listening to it, So I just want you to tell us what inspired your music, like how did music help you to heal, like your lyrics and all that? Where did it come from?
Yeah. So I always tell people, I got this question before, and I tell people, like, is God, because light always shine through, like, at your darkest time. The thing is, like, what are you gonna do with that light? You just gonna look at it, or are you gonna take something from it?
Yeah.
And when I be in these dark times, I gotta document these feelings. Like, I gotta get them out of me. I just feel like overwhelmed and anxiety, and I always wrote music, but it wasn't until this first album in the depression when I learned, how to direct it and what to do with it. Everything that, like, people would send me music like, hey, can you write to this beat? And it might take me 6 months to write to that beat, because I only work when it's inspired or when it's coming from someplace.
Oh, wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, If I'm feeling a certain way, lines will come to me because I'm like, I shouldn't be feeling this way because, I should have released. I should have took those deep breaths when I thought about it. Like, so I got to write that down so I don't forget it again. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I use the music as, I always call my music, and I do podcasts as well. Like, I use all this stuff as my Bible. Like, when I'm going through stuff and I'm feeling a way that's unfamiliar, or if it's something I felt before, I go back and I listen to them lyrics. Like, I tell people, I put the music out there for other people, but it had to heal me first. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I go back to document and look through these lines and listen to them, man. It's like, remember, like, those moments where I wrote those lines, I felt like that's when God or the universe or whatever that higher power is out there was talking to me.
Yeah.
That inspired me to put that down, because everything I write is pure and is aimed to heal or grow. Like when you said, when you open up the show just now, you're like, it's all about growth. Like, I don't do nothing unless it's contributing to healing or growth. And to anybody out there that's going through any type of depression, like, it never stops. Like, the healing, it never stopped. Like, I got to a place in my life to where I feel good. I know how to smile. I contribute to my own happiness. I know when something's wrong with me. I know how to handle it. But it's times, in life where, damn, I forgot my original point I was about to make, Chitty. It just left my head. But
it's gonna come back, bro.
Yeah, but it's, as I use this music, and everything that comes to me, I use it as a tool. Everything is a tool that was given to me by God, and it comes to me out of inspiration. And it doesn't come from me. That's all I always tell people. They always say, "Oh man, you dope. I love your lyrics. I love your music." And I feel like it didn't come from me, because it'd be times where I had gems and stuff that'll fall in my lap, or things to do where I don't know where it came from. Something just say move. And I'll write it down and move. And I know that whatever told me to move, I'll tell how they move me, and I'll put it in a song and hope it inspires somebody else. And
brother, I feel you, because when you talk about that inspiration, how it comes, I'm a writer, so it happens to me too. Like when I get to write, because there's a lot of books in here that I know that I'm still, to write, and I'm working on one right now. But I realized that, there's this thing they call flow states, in the psychological world. I realized that when I get into that flow state, the things that I write is just like they are being given. They are being released from somewhere. So I wouldn't even know. And me, I write more when I'm writing with, my pen and paper. Like, I like the ink, but most people are very good with, writing on their maybe laptop and tablets and all that. But me, those inspiration comes more when I'm writing on a plain paper with my ink. So it comes, that's the thing. So when you're talking about how your inspiration comes, I feel it too, because I know I'm a believer. So I believe my own comes from God, right? So when I stay in that mood, when I'm in that state, in that flow state, the thing keeps flowing. And when I'm doing it, sometimes when I read those things that I put down, I'll be like, did I wrote those things? Like, I will realize that this comes from a deeper place, right? So I completely understand, when you were explaining this. And man, I really, really love your work. Trust me, like I said, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding at all. I love your work. Like, I have watched you, the way you are very kind with your words. And I watch you when you get into, that's the thing, when you get into that state, that flow state, when you are singing, there is this passion that you sing with. So when I see that, I know that, okay, this is not just for the love of music. This is something that you're really called to do, right? It's just like you are this passionate about this because this is what you're called to do. It's just like it's your destiny. And the reason I am very happy to have you on this show is because I realize that life is a battle. You understand? So everybody has their own share. People fight battles every day. But what we do sometimes is we fail to realize that after every battle in life, there is always something that is meant for each and every one of us. But because we are short-sighted, most of us don't see that. We just, once we face through some series of battle, we just close up our chapter. We believe that's the end. That's the end of it. But look at what you're doing today. Had it been at that moment that you decided to close your chapter and said, this is it for me, I don't think I can get any further than this. You know, people like me and other people out there, thousands of people in the world that have been inspired by your music and be impacted by your music, wouldn't be able to do it, right? We wouldn't be able to enjoy all those things. We wouldn't be able to experience, you know, this wonderful act that God has given to you, right? So I just want to use this medium to just advise anybody out there, like, depression is real, no doubt. Anxiety is real. All those things are real. But when we use them to define ourselves, to believe that we have come to the end of the chapters of our life, that's not true. You can always begin a new chapter. If you need to reach out to people, if you need to just reach out to, you know, go for help, go for help. But there is always a better chapter in our lives. And I am so happy because you started that better chapter. That is why you and I are here today. And it is such an honor, man, to have you on this show, man. I know that, you know,
I'm glad to be here.
I know that your time is very valuable, man. And, you know, there are other things that you need to do. You're a very busy man. And, you know, I still respect the time of our listeners. And I thank you for sharing this wonderful story and, you know, an inspiration with us today, and this powerful motivation and about your music. So guys, I'm going to put down below all the information, all the things you need to know about Myrts Son. Trust me, you guys need to go follow him on Instagram, follow him on, you know, his podcast, listen to his podcast. He talk, you know, the raw truth about his life and story and everything. So I'll put all those information and the information about his albums and all that, so you guys can listen to it too. So thank you, brother. It's been such an honor to have you here. Thank you so much. And
thank you for having me, bro.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. It means a lot to me, man. It means a lot. It means a lot. Thank you very much, man. So guys, like I said, this is our first episode for the year. So you're going to be seeing a lot of things like this, but you can be able to, you know when we release a new episode unless you subscribe. So please subscribe. And if you leave me a review or leave us a review, it is going to mean a lot too. So, and like I said, go to our YouTube channel, the Mercurious Mind YouTube channel, and you will, you know, subscribe to it so that you can get all this information and listen to Myrt's story. And if this resonates with you in any way, just tag me on Instagram. You can tag Myrt too, you know, with information that I'll put there. Tell us what you learned from this episode. You know, we will be happy to know what you learned from this episode. We'll be happy to know maybe the action step you decide to take next to be able to start writing a new chapter. And, you know, it will be such an honor to share that experience with you. So thank you guys for hanging out with us today, and we will see you on the next show. Thank you.